Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Friday Ketchup. It is September 2023, and we are here talking about security today, about a great product in our portfolio called NeuVector. And who else to have as a guest when we're talking about NeuVector than Tracy Walker? Hey, applause, applause. Hey.
Boo!
Hello, Tracy. Welcome to this show. Would you like to introduce yourself to the Friday Ketchup audience?
Of course, Emiel. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Tracy Walker. I'm a senior security engineer for SUSE NeuVector. Was part of NeuVector before SUSE acquired NeuVector, so had a little bit of time under my belt there. But actually celebrating 30 years in IT, information technology, here in 2023. I started my career as a developer at Lockheed Martin in 1993. I know, it's a lot of gray hair.
And always on the security side, Tracy?
Not always in security. Actually, security was always part, right? Any environment in IT is going to have some modicum of security.
Yeah.
But so usually environments that were at least security sensitive.
Yeah.
But spent a lot of time in development, operations.
Okay.
Back then we called it configuration management.
Yeah.
It still exists, but now it's become SREs and DevOps, and we give different names, and we kind of, we change what the job does a little bit, but it's still kind of the same. You're trying to deploy applications the same way that you did in development and QA, and keep things consistent, and version control and all of those good things, and security.
Yeah. Why I invited Tracy to this Ketchup is because I heard you explaining what NeuVector is, and it was in such a way that I even understood what. All right, so I can replicate that, and I can try to make people clear what it is. So can you repeat that beautiful little analogy about what is NeuVector and why do IT infrastructure need NeuVector?
Yeah, I'll try.
I'm putting the boundary high, right?
The simplest way to describe NeuVector is it is an application that you deploy into Kubernetes that runs like an application in Kubernetes. So it's Kubernetes native, it's container native. We can also secure just containers, but that's the focus. It is focused on containers, Kubernetes, Rancher, even OpenShift, Tanzu, any CNCF Kubernetes flavor. And really the simplest way to say it, there's lots of products that do scanning for vulnerabilities and security settings and things like that. So that's, everybody knows about scanners, and but what's NeuVector does that's different and unique, and this is unique versus say Aqua, Sysdig, SNCC, StackRox, now OpenShift, Advanced Computer Security, I think they call it now. But basically all of those other products, they're very kernel centric. They're usually using extended Berkeley packet filtering, which is a kernel technology. It's a fantastic kernel technology. Gives you lots of insight of exactly what's running at the kernel, the order of things, the performance, all of those kind of things. And can contribute to security as well. But NeuVector and our patents, and the reason why SUSE acquired NeuVector is because we add security layers that are network centric. So this is not kernel centric, it's network centric, kind of like you're used to with firewalls and network devices. So we install kind of like a network device in your cluster. And because we use the network as our source of truth, we can build security policies directly from your network traffic. Now, why that's important is because by knowing your network traffic and your processes for your workloads, we create a allow list for that, and we deny everything else. And many people know this as zero trust, deny all by default. So we deny everything except for the things that we have seen that are operating in your environment. You kind of manage that, you discover it, and then we can secure it. So we're the only product that does zero trust based on allow rules for network and processes within Kubernetes, and we can completely automate it. So you can think of it as kind of upgrading your default security inside of Kubernetes. It's very easy to deploy, very easy to configure, not necessarily integrate, right? When we integrate with security information, event management, or SIEM, Splunk, Datadog, whatever everybody uses to kind of monitor the entire environment. We integrate with all of those things, and that sometimes can take some time.
Mm-hmm.
But with NeuVector, you can deploy into a cluster and immediately get a lot of security value just from the scanning results and the zero trust runtime. And that zero trust, the runtime security also includes like data loss prevention, WAF rules. We also do threat detection. We can detect threats in the network traffic. Those capabilities are not the zero trust, but they're added security layers. So every one of those adds a layer of security and allows you to see exactly where you're adding those layers of security before attacks might reach the kernel or before somebody can get control of your environment or things like that. So hopefully that was still a good explanation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And what I liked also what you said when we met at SUSECon in June in Munich this year is that with NeuVector it doesn't have to be a takeout of a competitor. If you want to test an extra security layer, it's open source. It's free and open source. So feel free to go to SUSE.com/NeuVector, download it, and try it out. You don't even have to tell us, right? You can just download it and do it.
Exactly.
And I like the analogy I heard you saying there is that if you would compare NeuVector with the security at a nightclub or at a casino or something, that if the competitor is already there as a guard, standing there with the big sign here, and oh, you're all scared, and the competitor is already doing that, but you want to have an extra layer of security, like maybe you have a mail security, and that's only allowed to check on male individuals coming in, and then NeuVector might be the one that can check females and males, or maybe people who are not even want to describe as male or female.
Exactly.
So
exactly. NeuVector would not discriminate.
Would not discriminate. So with NeuVector, anyone that goes into your casino can be checked. And if you want to have an extra security at your door, go ahead. It's open source, so we can just say to the security guy, "Welcome, stand here and do your thing." But then we are a company, and we had a proprietary piece of software, NeuVector. We made it open source. But how do we make our money now? Because it's the security guy. You can just come in, but he still needs to eat and drink, and he probably wants to drive a car and have a life. How do we pay this for the security guy if he's standing there and customers don't have to pay for him? Can you explain that?
Absolutely, because SUSE, so I think taking one little step back, yes, SUSE was proprietary licensed software, just like all the other security tools that are on the market. And even before we had been acquired, we were having internal discussions about, how do we get this in people's hands? Because this is different security. It does things differently. The performance is fantastic. The patents are not just, oh, we did something unique. The patents were created because we did something unique and we knew it was the most performant way of doing it without impacting performance, right? So once we found that sweet spot, we had tested things with, eBPF and different approaches, but this was the one that was the most performant. And we were trying to figure out how to get it into people's hands. Like, how do we just get people to use it? Because our experience was when people try it, they're like blown away. Like, this is fantastic. I'm seeing information that I haven't seen before. So when SUSE acquired NeuVector and decided, yes, we're going to make it open source, I thought that was a brilliant move and gave us a huge advantage over, and it's not so much about, us versus the competition, like you said. We're talking about security, right? So we don't want to say, well, that's bad security, we're better security, we do this better than them. No, every environment is unique. I mean, if there's anything I have learned in 30 years, every single IT environment is unique. They're not just a little different, they are absolutely unique, like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
And so NeuVector is able to capture that fingerprint and say, well, I know what this workload does and what it does. So when people get to use it, they would see that. So, and now we are starting to see more and more people who are trying it out. You know, the open source version is the only version. There isn't yet. There is probably going to be a NeuVector Prime in the future, but or you know, some other kind of thing. But the open source right now is the full platform, and so it's an enterprise grade platform that you can install and start using right away. And we've even seen, we've got users that have now started coming to us since it was open source, who are using other products, like say Prisma Twistlock. And they installed NeuVector, immediately started seeing a SQL injection attack, which is not even our zero trust part. That's just the threat detection piece. And when they first install it, they were like, well, this product doesn't work. It's saying we're getting attacked. Well, then they looked at the packet capture of the attack, which we do, that's unique. And they're like, wow, that looks like a real attack. Why is this not being shown with our other tools? And so they started investigating. They even had the other vendor come in and do a comparison. And yeah, they weren't detecting this attack that was happening. It was a bot that was doing a SQL injection. So so you can use this to add layers to what you already have. You can use it instead of other layers. You know, it's all about what are the best layers that will add security, won't slow my organization down, adds a lot of visibility without risk of blocking things, stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, well, I think enough about technology and business and all. The music, we were listening to a band I really, really love. It's Splendid and the song called The Beach. I will put the title and artist underneath. Why did you pick this artist?
You know, I was inspired. I did some work in The Hague, Den Haag, and one of the people that I was working with, Arno, if you're out there.
Hello, Arno.
But Arno was taking me to some different venues. Was in a band himself, played keyboard. Yeah, very talented individual, and I think he may even still be in a band. I've lost touch with Arno, so may have to catch up with him at some point.
What's Arno's first and second name? So Arno is his first name?
Engelhard.
Okay. Okay, we'll try to find him for you.
He'll be like, Tracy, you've aged so much.
All right, so we were working and traveling through the Netherlands, and then I invited you for the Ketchup, and you thought then I need to pick a Dutch song.
Absolutely, full circle.
Well, for me, it's even more Dutch because I'm a big Formula One fan, and as we speak, they are racing at Imola in Italy, and Max Verstappen, I think obvious the best Formula One driver in the world. Luke and we were there last week, and he won his 9th race on a row, and he is capable of winning his 10th. And nobody ever before won 10 races on a row. Vettel came to 9, but nobody did 10. So he can break the all-time record in there. And it's just amazing how good of a driver he is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll cross our fingers he doesn't pick up a nail.
Well, you never know. If it happens, it happens. But so when you picked this song, I was really like, wow, okay, this is you could say the soundtrack of Luke, and friends of us going to the Formula One in Zandvoort, and it's The Beach by Splendid. So we'll go back to that great song, and everyone, thank you very much for watching this catch-up. Make sure that you have a look at suze.com/NeuVector, and if you have any questions on NeuVector, feel free to reach out to me. But if you actually want to have proper answers, go to Tracy and the great NeuVector team, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much for watching. Tracy, something you want to say to the audience before we go back to Splendid?
Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend. That's a really good one. All right, here we go. Let's go down to the beach.